Here we go.
Christian here with cheap beat-up Elvis vinyl. You know, a couple episodes ago, I asked people to subscribe, and we got a few subscriptions. Managed to eke our way up to 500 subscribers. Thank you so much if you've subscribed. Now, I'm not going to ask for more subscriptions, more subscribers, but we're going to try something different in this episode. I am going to try to subliminally suggest that you subscribe without actually asking you to subscribe. So see if during this episode you can detect how many times that I subliminally suggest that you subscribe to the channel. You can keep a little tally, and at the end of the video, in the comments, you can say how many times that you think you detected me subliminally suggesting that a person subscribe to the channel. First off, this week, we went over to the Slidell Antique Fair. Subscribe. It was a nice little thing outside, beautiful weather. The future ex-wife said, why don't you take Daisy and I down there? Maybe you might find an Elvis thing. And it looked a little bit, subscribe, like these. Well, here we are at the Slidell Antique Fair. Beautiful. There's a nice little area where they have all these umbrellas hanging over the street. Looking for Elvis stuff. And look what I found. Hello, Daisy. Causing havoc in the streets. And yes, in case you were wondering, they did have a little umbrella, just the perfect size for Daisy. So I picked up a couple of little items there, subscribe. First one I picked up was this 8-track. Elvis's Christmas album. It's on the Pickwick Camden. Nice clean copy. Now what I find interesting about it is I already had this in the collection, subscribe. This is the White Christmas album along with You'll Never Walk Alone. This was what they call a twin tape. Subscribe. Now I got a single and a twin tape. Nice. The 8-track collection is coming along quite nicely. Now the next one that I found, the future ex-wife came up to me and she said, Daisy spotted down here that this guy has a few Elvis records. Subscribe. And so she says, come on down. So I walk down there. The guy's got a clear plastic tub, bunch of records in it, and at the front I can see this. Can you tell what it is? Because as soon as I saw it, I told the future ex-wife, got ourselves a ringer. What it is Peace in the Valley. Now, I already had Peace in the Valley, but this one looked a little different. I could just tell something was different. Gold Standard series. I thought it was different than mine. So I put it on the side, looked through the rest of the records. Wasn't really anything that I was interested in. Subscribe. And so I took it over to the guy to pay for it. But before I took it over, I checked in it just to check the record. I was going to buy it anyway, but just wanted to check the record. And guess what? It wasn't an Elvis record. It was a Donovan single. So I took it out. I put it in the pile with the records. So I went up to the guy and I said, hey, I'd like to buy this. The record in it wasn't an Elvis record, but I want to buy the cover anyway. He looks at me kind of side-eye and says, there wasn't an Elvis record in it. I said, no, it was a Donovan record. I put it over there. Kind of eyes me, says, Donovan record. So I said, yeah, this one right here. So I'll go over, I get the record, I bring it back, I show it to him. Kind of looks and he goes, I said, I just want to buy the cover. And he says, well, okay, $2, subscribe. So I bought it, but to quote my friend Miss Randy, I didn't care for him. I felt that his attitude was unjust. So I took it. I was pleased to get it. So when I get home, sure enough, I take out my copy, and my copy is different. My copy came out in March of '57. Now this came out in November of '59, the gold standard. You see, it's a little bit different. A little bit different. So I figured I did a good job. Picked up something different that I didn't know about. Subscribe. So then I start. Remember a few episodes ago we talked about if you find an EP without a cover and it's cheap, and you find a cover without an EP and it's cheap, just pick them up, bring them home, put them in a box, and maybe you can match them up, because I have matched them up in the past. So I get home with this cover and I look through my EPs. Sure enough, I matched it up. This is where it gets a little interesting. The one that I matched it up with, notice also the numbers are different. This is EPA 4054 for the original, and for the gold standard, it's EPA 5121. So I notice on the one I have, it's a 5121. And guess what? It's on a maroon label. Now, I had picked up a couple of these maroon labels when I was first collecting Elvis. I didn't have any Elvis records, so I would just buy all the ones that I came across if they were cheap. And I got these for $1 each. So I got this one, Peace in the Valley, and I also got this one, which is Touch of Gold Volume 2. Now, I did a little research on these maroon labels, and apparently they only did them on a few releases. They did it on the real Elvis, Peace in the Valley, and Touch of Gold Volume 1, 2, and 3. I believe that's the only ones they did. May have done one other that I can't recall. Subscribe. And that was it. I also checked singles to see if maybe around that time they were pressing some of the singles on maroon, but I didn't see any. And this all took place. The first one was April of '59, and the last one I believe was January of '60. So it was a very short little window there where they did these maroon labels. If you know anything about these maroon labels, please leave it down in the comments if you know if they also released any singles. I don't think they did, but you may know. Some of these guys out there probably know. Joseph might know, Ed, Mark, TCB since '73. These guys know a lot about the Elvis records, so I'd appreciate it. Also, something I didn't mention a couple weeks ago when I showed this beauty that I picked up, subscribe. I forgot to show you the spine. Look how good shape the spine is in. To me, it's not all cracked up. You can read it. Elvis Presley, RCA. There's the number. Subscribe. It's in pretty good shape, except you got some tape on here. And if you recall, there's only one disc in here, but when you find those EPs, pick them up if they're cheap, put them in your box, and you can match them together. So that's it. Appreciate it. Hope you had fun. I had a blast. So remember, had plenty of presidents in this country, had a bunch of dog catchers. I saw a guy one time, he was juggling while he was doing a hula hoop. But we only had one king, baby. Thank you, Elvis. Okay, fine.